Hi, everyone, and thanks for tuning in into the Biped podcast, where we discuss urban clean energy transition and how to improve related concepts, processes, technologies to facilitate transformation toward climate neutral cities. I am Pavel Kogut, and in today's episode, we will focus on the city of Aarhus, its path to climate neutrality, and how it's using new concepts like positive energy districts to achieve this objective. Now, Aarhus climate ambitions have a long history. If we go back to year 2009, back then the city hosted a conference that culminated in 7 Aarhus statements to address climate change beyond Kyoto. In 2022, Aarhus joined the city's mission, and as part of this work, the city was awarded, quite recently actually, the EU mission label for its commitment to reaching climate neutrality by 2030. And last year in 2024, Aarhus adopted a new climate strategy for the years 2025 to 2030. And it's interesting that this document acknowledges that although much has been achieved, new solutions need to be tried and tested. Otherwise, only about a third of the current footprint will be offset by the end of the decade. So business as usual really is no longer an option. And to achieve climate neutrality, Aarhus developed a variety of strategies across various areas, such as opening a new carbon capture facility, increasing the share of geothermal power in the energy mix, electrifying transport, installing more solar panels on the roofs of all building types, and establishing the plus energy or positive energy district concept, what we short call PEDS. To discuss the way forward for Aarhus, I'm joined by two experts from Aarhus municipality, Johanne Hansen and Soren Jorgensen. Johanne is a project manager at ITK Futures Lab in the city of Aarhus, where she is helping to drive innovation and explore how emerging technologies can shape smarter solutions for the future of the city. She's a key member of the Small Futures Lab, which focuses on driving innovation and development within fields of technology through EU funding and project management. Johanne holds a master's degree in information technology and has worked for several years in the fields of learning, digital transformation, human-centered design, and organizational change. Right now, her main focus is on the Biped project. Also based at the ITK Futures Lab is Soren, who is supporting project managers and researchers and is driving project development and funding activities, together with creating synergies between local innovation ecosystems and EU-driven regulations, with the aim of creating sustainable digital transformation for cities and communities. With 15 years of experience in the field of social digital innovation across a number of sectors and areas, Soren is now putting to good use all these insights into how people, businesses, administrations, and even the environment make up a chaotic but highly creative potential for developing digital services that actually serve citizens and sustain the planet tomorrow. Hello, Joanne. Hello, Soren. It's nice to have you here. How are you both doing?
Hi, Pavel. Thank you so much. It's nice to be here. I'm good and ready to all your questions.
Soren?
Hi, Pavel. Also from my side. Thanks for having us. I'm good. These are exciting times. Our different countries in Europe are facing a lot of external pressure, but this also means that I experience that we come together and join forces as we do in Biped and in other European innovation initiatives. And I have a strong belief that this will drive us forward in a very good direction.
Yeah, perfect. Well, let me start with you, Johan. I suppose that it's not a coincidence that your department, called Futures Lab, was given the task to work on a novel and arguably an experimental concept like PED, Positive Energy District. So I'm curious, does the city want to first test the concept in a kind of lab environment, in this case within the Biped project, to see whether, when, and how it can be scaled across the city?
Yeah. Well, yeah, you're absolutely right. Because it's no coincidence that Futures Lab is leading this work. Because in our department, we are dedicated to innovation is in our name ITK. So it makes perfectly sense that we take on this experimental aspect of the biped project regarding the pets. So from our department, we bring in tools and methods and the mindset to think more creatively and use this approach to challenge this from different angles. So while Soren and I, we're not energy experts, but we are specialized in using this methods to explore how living labs can be used in this way of testing and adapting real world scenarios. So in that sense, biped act as a testing ground for us to understand if, when, and how such concepts can hopefully and eventually be scaled across other cities, but also in Aarhus.
Yeah, that's interesting. Well, now if I can go to you, Soren. From what I know about Aarhus, it has 6 districts. Brabrand is one of them, and it was chosen as a test ground for pet development. Now I'm curious what guided this decision to select Brabrand for this purpose. What makes Brabrand an interesting site for trialing a pet solution?
Thanks for this question. I'd say there are several reasons for going with Brabrand as a test site, but as a test bed for developing this positive energy district. First of all, Brabrand is no more suited for pet development than any other districts in Aarhus or cities in general, actually. The district climate, demography, business environment, the road infrastructure and building stock, and many more features of the district are similar to what we see in the suburban areas of many mid-sized European cities, actually. But that is also the point, to innovate our technology in a district that is mirrored in many other European cities. One of the ambitions we have with Biped is to go beyond the context-specific technology and deliver a standardized and interoperable version of a positive energy district. So we are actually able to scale and replicate citywide, nationwide, and hopefully also in many other places in Europe, as Johanne just said before. That being said, we as local civil servants here in the administration also have a special feeling for the area. Brabrand, and especially the sub-area of Gellerup, has been affiliated with many social, cultural, and economic conflicts and negative development trends for the last 2 or 3 decades. And in public foreign media, this has been connected very much to marginalized ethnic minorities. This is highly unfair and does not in any way pay respect to the very inspiring and creative and imaginative people living in the area. And this also motivated us to point to Brabrand, deserving the special attention from many different experts and partners involved in Biped. And Biped also prompted the city actually to point to Brabrand as a place to place the new city climate living lab, which has an annual budget up until 2030 to innovate sustainable homes. So in this way, we also see that Biped is developing a district that really deserves this attention.
Oh, that's interesting, Soren. Thanks. Johanne, now with pets, apparently a concept like that cannot be driven by a city alone, and for sure, other actors and stakeholders need to be involved in its implementation. So I'm curious, which other organizations have you been working with to prepare the ground for pet development in Brabrand? And if you can reflect on whether it's been easy or challenging to engage with them, that would be really interesting to learn.
Yeah, sure. Yeah, so while we're based in one department in Aarhus, Soren and I, developing a concept like PETs requires collaboration across the entire municipality. So Aarhus municipality has over 30,000 employees. So a big part of our initial effort has been to identify and engage the right internal stakeholders in the municipality. And beyond that, we have focused on the Brabrand district and map out key local actors who could meaningfully contribute to the PET development. So, for instance, we have collaborated with the local energy community, Sol over Brabrand, son of Brabrand, and connected with the Brabrand business sector, particularly a newly formed ESG network, and some of the companies connected to that, and had target conversation with several local companies. So we also engaged extensively with citizens in the area in all kinds, and altogether we have been in touch with more than 50 different stakeholders, and if it has been easy, no, it hasn't been easy, but it's definitely been worth it. We're now starting to see the result of our engagement and the effort we have put into it. So clear alignment, stronger partnerships, and better understanding of which stakeholders can bring real value to a PET and the BiPET project, and how the project can benefit them in return as well. So yeah, so that's been a lot of work here to do, and still
I see. Thanks, Johanne. And Soren, I have a question for you of a more technical nature, because building a PET requires some technical aid, because some complex modeling work is involved in PET design. And could you tell us which technologies are you using already or are planning to use to provide decision support for PET design and implementation? And how might urban planners or energy planners or any other stakeholders, even maybe citizens, use these technologies?
So I want to say, first of all, it requires some technical aid. Yes, indeed, it requires a lot of technical aid, both from technical aid, assistants and experts, but also from research, of course, which is why we involve Aarhus in these both research and innovation projects. Moving to your questions. The state of the art today is that our local utility companies are working to some degree with data-driven decision tools. But the data that is fed into these are either historical static data or coming from IoT. This leads to an operation that works either in what we from research side can talk of as complete darkness, or they work when it's IoT database. They actually work in a very transparent and very visible fashion of what is going on. But still, this is not helping them to take better decisions, because it's a very expensive way of working. What we are hoping to bring in BiPET is an operational mode that lies in between operating in the dark or operating only with real-time data. I believe this is also from research side called the gray area. This is hopefully going to support mainly utility companies and energy planners in providing a more flexible and adjustable way of loading energy onto the grid and into the heating system. In this way, a digital twin can work as an instrument, yes, to decide what to do, and potentially also decide better than today of what to do. Eventually, but this takes more than just technical development. Citizens could also be involved in these processes. Maybe not in decision making, but in processes that are connected to working with this technology. And these processes are maybe not about taking decisions, but maybe more about what is also brought from these technologies. And that is the potential for understanding better how our city actually works, also when it comes to energy consumption. I think to some degree, this is an under-discussed and under-scrutinized area of what these technology brings. On one side, yes, they are instruments to decide better. A new book also came out on this on this subject, partly delivered by you. I think there's an aspect missing here, and that is the chance for us to learn better about how our city works. And this is also some of the potential that we will put to use in the years following BiPET.
Fascinating, Soren. Thank you and Johanne for your really insightful responses. And I can definitely say that my knowledge of Aarhus innovation potential to reach its climate goals has certainly improved. And I do hope that our listeners also learn and will learn something new and interesting from today's podcast. We will be having more exciting conversations about PET and urban clean energy transition in the future. So stay tuned, guys, and see you on the next one.